Coaches, welcome back to this new series, my practice reflections from coaching a U11 boys basketball team. Just wanted to share a couple takeaways from practice number 2 and the parent meeting I held just a day ago. And on practice, the first thing that really stood out to me as I was reflecting back on the practice is the importance of flexibility and adaptability. And I think this is the case not only in youth sports, but really any level, but particularly in youth sports, as often your numbers just fluctuate. I have 11 kids on my roster, but I only had 8 at practice for practice number 2. One's injured, one was out of town for a school field trip, another one had baseball. Just things happen. And I think it's really important, first of all, that we do come into practice with a solid plan, but that we're willing to adapt and adjust. I was planning on doing a few things, 5-on-5, teaching a couple specific game things that we needed to go over before we play our first game, but that kind of got derailed a little bit as we didn't have 10 people. And so I think it's just important that we're willing to adjust on the fly and know that it's not going to be perfect. That should not mean, though, that we don't plan intentionally for it. And what I really think is the case is that if we plan intentionally for our practices, it actually makes adjusting easier. We can change the numbers more quickly. We've thought it through. And usually I kind of have a backup plan if my numbers are going to be different. And so that's one of the things I would encourage every coach, but especially if you're coaching at the youth level or even the high school level, and your numbers tend to fluctuate, consider that. Consider that in advance. Be willing to adjust, and don't let it can be frustrating, but I would encourage you to not let it derail you emotionally. You know, it's really easy to get frustrated. Where are people? This is messing up my plan. It's not going to help you be a better coach in that moment. And so I would encourage you to just consider, okay, what can I do right now to provide the best practice for the kids that are in front of me? And so that may mean you have to change some things, and that's okay. And it's even okay to tell your athletes that, hey guys, I'm sorry, I need 60 seconds right here. I had planned something specific, but our numbers are different, so I need to figure out how I'm going to change this. Give them a 60-second break. Let them play a game for 2 or 3 minutes while you figure out your next step. Like, that's okay. Be flexible, be adaptable. It's just part of it. It's part of coaching, and it's really important that we recognize it, consider it beforehand, and we don't let it derail us emotionally. Because when our emotions get going and riled up, or we're frustrated or angry because our plan isn't going like we thought it would, or athletes aren't there, or they're getting injured, we're just not going to be as an effective coach as we could be. So I would encourage you in that. Be willing to be flexible, be adaptable. If you have assistants, ask for their input, have them consider it, have them make a change, or have them run the game or drill while you step back and just think for a minute. That's totally okay to do. That does it for practice. I wanted to share just a few thoughts about the parents meeting that I held last night after our second practice. This is really important, I think, at any age and stage that you're coaching, high school and below. I don't have experience coaching above high school or at the professional level, so I'm not going to speak to that. But for youth and high school, your parent meeting is essential. It's so important that you align everyone up front, ultimately, so that it provides the best experience for the athletes. And when I talk about aligning everyone, it's aligning everyone on a few things. The first is the purpose. Why are we actually here? Why are we doing this? Why are your kids in sports? Why am I coaching them? Those things need to be really clear, and they need to be spoken. And then we need to align on a definition of success. This needs to be very clear as well. What does a successful season look like this year? And so for these 11-year-olds that I'm coaching, there was really 3 things that I've mentioned multiple times to parents that would make this a successful season. And the first one is every kid feels deeply connected to the team and wants to be a part of it. The second one is every kid gets better at basketball. And the third thing is every kid wants to play basketball again next year. And I would probably put has fun for that third one. Because if they have fun, if they see themselves getting better and they enjoy it, They're going to want to play again. And I think, again, the first piece of that I mentioned is they need to feel connected to the group. When we feel connected to groups, we want to be there. We're motivated. It becomes more intrinsic. And so I think those things are so, so crucial. That's my lens of success as I'm coaching these 11-year-olds. And I want parents to know that. And then the other thing I was really clear on were just how some things are going to be done. And so I addressed playing time. My philosophy on this, I'm coaching 11-year-olds. This is not the time for them to, quote unquote, earn their playing time. My players are going to pretty much all play equally because I'm committed to my definition of success, which is that every kid gets better and wants to play again next year. And I will tell you what will prevent a kid from wanting to play again next year is sitting on the bench. They're 11. We have no idea who's going to develop at what rate, who's going to grow, mature, all of those things. My team, and I think this is what should be happening, especially at the youth level, is they're going to play equally. Now, there's a time when playing time becomes earned. At that high school level is typically really when I think it should ramp up. And that's usually when kids kind of begin to sort themselves even into the sports they feel most confident in and enjoy the most. But at this level, I made it really clear to parents that playing time is going to be pretty much equal. You're not going to come to a game and watch your kids sit on the bench. Most of the time, if we have 10 kids there, we're going to go 5 in and 5 out. And we'll just do it like that. And I'm okay with it. And I'm okay if it means that we lose some games because every kid's playing pretty much equally. I did this last year with my under 10 team, and multiple kids just told me they loved it. I had kids tell me, hey, coach, thank you. Thanks for playing everybody. We love that we just sub 5 and 5 out because they want to play. They're there to play. They're there to play. The number one reason boys and girls play sports is that it's fun. It's fun. And the number one reason they quit is that it's no longer fun. Sitting on the bench isn't fun. And at this age, they all need to be playing. The last piece that I was intentional about aligning on with parents was treatment of referees. I just made it really clear that as a team, I expect it from myself, from my players, and I'm asking for it from parents to treat referees with respect. I just shared that we have a referee shortage in our country and that they're human beings, and I'm going to commit to modeling treating them with respect. I'm going to ask their sons to treat them with respect, and I'm asking them to treat them with respect. And I halfway jokingly said, and if you really don't like the refs, I would encourage you to go be a referee because it's really hard. You get paid next to nothing, and you get treated like trash often. And so I just said that. And I said also that on the sideline, I'm not going to be complaining at referees about calls and losing my mind because I'm going to preach and try to help instill in their sons a next play mentality or the ability to move on from mistakes and adversity and keep going forward. And if I can't model that as the coach, I'm not going to be able to develop it in them. And so I was really clear, and I asked it from them too. I said, I need you guys to commit to modeling this with me, to treating the referees with respect. Yeah, and so to wrap that up with the parents meeting, it's so important that we take the time to get everyone aligned because ultimately, and this is one of the last things I said, all those things are to make sure that the kids have the best experience, that it's a great experience for them because that's who this is about. It's not about us. It's not about the parents. It's not about the coaches. It's about the athletes. It's about the kids and their experience. It's their experience. And I will say this, parents seem to really appreciate it. They really appreciated it. They like knowing where a coach is coming from. I shared some of the reasons behind some of the things I'm doing. And they were just really appreciative that I was clear that it was about more than basketball and that I'm committed to it being about more than basketball. I think often parents get a really bad rap in sports and we lump all sports parents together, which is just really unfair. And often what we let happen is we let the one or two really difficult parents taint our view and treatment of the others. What I've found so far is that the majority of parents are really supportive and pretty great sports parents. Now, there are some really difficult ones. I had one last year. on the U10 team. But for the most part, parents are awesome. They want to support your kids. They want to support their kids. They've supported me. They've been willing to kind of follow those expectations that I laid out for them around treating refs, and even encouraging them to avoid putting pressure on their kids after games. And so I think that's important for us to consider too. We should give parents the benefit of the doubt and a blank slate. We shouldn't judge a parent or make assumptions about a parent based on how other parents have treated us or things other parents have done. I've found that when you are transparent, when you communicate well with them, when you are clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it, that most parents are really supportive and appreciative. So just in review really quick, my 2 takeaways from practice number 2 in the parent meeting are, number 1 on practice, we've got to be flexible and adaptable, especially with changing numbers. We've got to be willing to adjust and figure out a way to do that effectively on the fly. And with the parents meeting, it's so critical that we align everyone up front so that it provides a better experience for everyone really, but in particular for those young people, those athletes that we're coaching and leading. That does it for this one, coaches. I hope you're finding this series valuable. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to be sharing some video content as well from practices and some of the other things I'm doing with this team via Twitter and likely to my email list as well. So if you have any questions about things I've shared or want to learn more about what we offer coaches and organizations, you can just send me an email at luke@cuttingedgecoach.com. Thanks for listening.